Live with Astro Monday. Today we're going to be talking about what is going on this week, what's coming up in the astrology that's going to affect you directly, how it's going to affect your body, how it's going to affect your life, how it's going to affect you at the core level. And today's that day where you're pioneering the new attitude. So we are going to be bringing up Christopher Witecki, my sensei, to serious joy. Christopher has helped me immensely over the years and is a major reason why the Human Garage mission has moved. And I missed last week, but I'm back here again. Looking forward to it. Christopher,
Hey buddy, how's it going?
good. It feels like so long.
It does. I mean, just like has it been? Yeah, we took a week off, you and I last week. That's true.
And you
Yeah,
filled
yeah.
in. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we got to read more people than we normally do, so it worked out perfectly. Yeah. But it feels like we've lived a year in a week, so I didn't know if you're referring to that.
Oh,
Like,
dude, it
it's crazy,
feels
isn't
like
it?
a yeah, it feels like a year in the last week. Like it really does. Why
Yeah,
why does it feel that? Like why is it that big of a change?
because I think because we're shifting timelines. I really think it's because we are wrapping up our karmic stuff in our old timeline. So all of our karmas come up. Even I have the karma of letting people down and things not following through. And I made a couple programming mistakes over the weekend with the new moon, which was just an honest mistake, but it triggered that same core, wound where I had to it came up and I felt all the anger and all the frustration. It's like, even when you think you're done, there's like more in there, you know?
Yeah,
So
everybody in the comments, can you do us a favor for the algorithm and for otherwise? Can you put in your sun, your moon, your rising? If you have your degrees, put it in there. It always helps us. It helps drive the traffic. And also, I want to remind you to go to the bottom on the right-hand corner, that little arrow down there. Press that. Send it out to a friend. Send it out to somebody who needs to hear about their astrology. Send it to your partner or your children or your mother. And send it to somebody you don't like who really needs some help.
yeah, send me to who you don't like. I'll be that bad guy. I'll tell them like it is. Yeah, sometimes I have been stirring the pot a little bit. I have to be honest, but that's all right. It's cool the way it runs. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so I was gonna say that my in every aspect of my life, everything is better. And I know it is for you too, but I mean to the point where the physical stuff, the emotional, all the family things are basically worked out. Basically, this last year was like a brush that cleared it out. Now, this year, what I'm experiencing those same issues, but in the smallest, most minute ways. And this weekend was an interesting one because we had the new moon. It was when was that?
was yesterday. It was
Yesterday.
yesterday early morning, and I felt
So
it. It was like it.
yesterday early morning was what happened for us is we brought down all of our energy to pull all of our programs together. Our new
Mm,
program that we joined, that we're doing, we pulled down all the energy to restructure all of our organization. It was manifesting. It was step 11. So we were bringing into reality yesterday of all the stuff that we've been working on. And for us, the experience was super productive.
yeah, well, that's great. I didn't feel that way. I felt a lot of. I mean, for me, it's hitting in a very personal spot. You have what, an Aries rising, so it's in your 12th right now. No, you have a. What's your
Yeah,
rising? 'Cause I
Aries
know what
rising
you want.
21 degrees.
21. So yeah, so the sun's in your 12th house right now. So you're doing spiritual work, which is great. It's sort of hit and miss. It's in my 8th house, so it can be very
I
triggering. I
also
found that
have I think it's called a Uranus return. I think it's been like 30
no, you're
years,
not that
something.
old. You'd be 84. You be Biden's age. Biden's about to go through his Uranus return. I'm not sure. You're not Uranus. I mean, how old are you, Gary?
I'm 55, so I'm
Okay,
an
you're not even.
Aquarius and my progressed.
Yeah, you're not even yet. Your second Saturn return is 59.
Yeah, it was
So,
Cynthia last Monday had her second Saturn return.
oh, she
She's on the chat.
did. Oh, no kidding. Hey, congratulations, Cynthia.
And,
I didn't
and
realize that. That's what's causing extra crankiness this year
well,
for
yeah,
her.
that this is like she doesn't like to talk about age. She comes to Christian Science and they don't even acknowledge age. And I'm like, yeah, but if I would have remembered all year long that there was your second Saturn return, I would have just chalked it off to, oh, it's Saturn return. Oh, it's Saturn return. Otherwise, it's like, I can't believe it's going to be like this all year.
It's tough. I mean, the step up system applies to age. So 60 is I receive safety,
Yeah.
0. I receive safety. So I think there's a good application there with
Yeah,
your
I
step
saw
number
the change
age.
in her. There's a change coming up to her birthday, and I told you about all those. I showed you some of the meetings, like my daughter. I'm going to bring my daughter and her doppelganger on live
Oh,
here.
that'd be cool. Yeah. I love
Because like they literally have the same life. They have the same amount of. They have the same people in their life. They have the same number of cats. They have. I mean, it's
wow.
this bizarre. And this young girl was living in Lompoc, which almost nobody knows of. But that's where I spent 14 months
Wow.
federally.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's awesome.
and yeah, so I had all of these repeating patterns show up over the last week, like people that either represented somebody else in my past because I know everybody's astrology, and it was like
Mm,
this even for Cynthia and for Jason and for Aisha. Like we got in an Uber driver, and he was a 14-degree Pisces, the same as Cynthia, and
wow.
we got it. We were in a restaurant, and somebody comes up with like with the same everything was the same as we were or somebody close to us.
Hmm. We should develop a little app in Serious Joy where you can see how far you are from a step number like yours. Like they do for the hookups apps.
Yeah, yeah, actually, that would be a good idea.
It's
So
like
what would
there's
be
418s right here in this room. No shit. Wonder where they are. That'd be fun. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
so what was last week about then? And then how does that translate to what we're learning this week and going through?
Well, last week was about really weeding out those old karmic patterns. So, and the new moon was the final squeezing out of the old patterns and emotionally setting yourself up for the new mission. Last week is about changing your daily life. That your daily life needs to change the karma of your daily life. Are you always the underdog? Are you always in debt? Are you always the one picked on in the room? Are you always the one ignored or talked over? Those sort of karmic things that are a result of the way you treat yourself on the inside, just to be very clear. So God's not picking on you. It's law of attraction, law of reflection going on. So what we did was we sort of worked out, okay, this is what my life is going to be or not be. I'm tired of this, or I'm saying yes to that. There's a lot of yeses. I'd say there's probably more yeses than nos for me, where I was affirming, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm ready to do this, like selling some stuff, for instance, and things like that. And now this yesterday was the new moon, and I'll just iterate. The new moon was intense because these new moons are at 20 degrees, which is almost like a full moon. So these are like full new moons. New moons are usually very gentle, and these have been all just everyone's been catty because everyone's repressed feelings are coming up to the surface and sort of gurgling up. So we had that new moon to sort of wring out all the old feelings and give yourself a new emotional posture for the future. And I corrected myself. I caught myself in it and corrected myself. This week, then it's like, well, if I have this new daily life, what destiny am I headed for? So this week is about really determining your aiming for a future destination, and that destination is spiritual, so it can apply to many things. So it's not like I'm going to open a business. It's like I'm going to change the world through business, or I'm going to, master relationships, or I'm going to help women in need. Something very of essence. And this, whatever you commit to of this essence, is going to happen, most likely. It may not happen this life. If you lazy out, I think this will continue. So I honestly think we're creating multi-lifetime intentions right now. And the last time we made multi-lifetime intentions on this level was actually 1860, right before the American Civil War. And what's interesting is I think a lot of people made multi-lifetime intentions in that life, and they actually didn't get to it in that life because the Civil War thwarted that ability to do that, which is kind of interesting observation.
Would that be why the energy is going to be so intense coming back with that Civil War energy coming up here this year?
Oh yeah, I mean, America's already reliving it. A lot of what you're seeing, I think, people don't realize we still have the trauma of the Civil War of the United States happening. And so I think a lot of the reason why you have Black Lives Matter and you have a lot of, narcissist leaders and you have people being called racist and all this stuff, it's us actually working through the karma of that wound. We actually have not healed that spiritual wound in this country. And so we're having sort of a mock civil war now, mostly on Twitter.
Yeah, and we got the next Me Too movement coming. We got the P Diddy, and I don't know if you saw that. It's like
Oh,
it's running
me
through Candace
three.
Owens. They're like tearing apart. I told everybody this is going to happen. We told them specifically, but basically the gutting of Hollywood and the music industry and all of the lies and the cover-ups, it all came out in a lawsuit, and they weren't even criminally charging. It came out in a civil lawsuit with things like murder. It's like they wouldn't even do it from the justice side. So it's
Wow.
yeah.
I didn't know there was murder in there. I knew
Oh
there was
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
rape.
underage sex trafficking,
Oh, yeah.
trafficking. There is murder accusation, everything. I mean, this isn't
Wow.
that, and it's all of the and all the talking heads are doing it. So that's showing up right now. It started to show up last week. And by the way, I did take your advice the week before. On the Thursday, we set the plan for our new vision. Last
Beautiful.
week we were like drawing in all of these people from similar energies. It felt like I was like I'll give you an example. Um uh the guy who introduced who set up the meeting for me to go set up the meeting where I went and met my ex-wife. The same guy walks into me in an airport in Cancun and says, "Hey, Gary, haven't seen you
Whoa.
in 12 years." 12 years, my Jupiter cycle.
Oh my
And
goodness.
all the people from that participated, all the energies that were in that Jupiter cycle came back this last week. And then this week, it's all about, I can already feel it this weekend. It's all about taking that energy that we put the week before that you told me to do. And all the pieces are coming together.
I think you're right on. And honestly, and that's where I am too. I mean, I am in full force planning my spiritual mission and what I'm here to do. I think the people who will consider themselves light workers, which means they're working in the light of love in this lifetime to bring life to the love to the planet. I think they are coming into clarity about their vision and their destiny as well. So you're right in alignment. I think there's going to be a lot of unrealized opportunity unfold this week, is what I picked up on when I studied the week in real nano detail. In
What do you
other
mean
words,
unrealized opportunity?
well, we there's a blind corner because when you undo what was holding you back, you know,
Yeah,
I think there's things you weren't able to see before when you were holding yourself
fair
back.
statement. New opportunities,
Yeah,
even, yeah. And, and,
so
and, and obstacles, right?
or stuff that was always there but you never took seriously. Like
Yeah,
like oh, it's like I've always wanted that, but now I'm actually thinking that's a possibility. The fact that you wanted it was that you saw that was your fate, but you had all this crap to go through first. I mean, we all had to purge all this trauma. And I think this is the first lifetime we purged trauma, honestly, I don't think we've ever purged trauma. I
yeah.
don't think the human race has ever purged
Well,
trauma
I can
before. This is
I
brand
can
new.
tell you that the way I see it, and that's why I'm going to do this 12-month program, which is the philosophy behind the fashion news, why they work. The first thing I have to do, or I'm going to do, is define my view of a human body, a human experience,
Yeah, I love
because our
that.
body isn't our experience. That energy around us is our experience. Part of it is the body, and so what I'm noticing is the body to me is all our DNA is a double helix with little antennas on the end called
Yeah,
telomeres, and that interprets the signal, and that's your serious joy steps to serious joy. That's the code, and that
yeah,
code is interpreted through that DNA. And what I'm
interesting.
noticing in people, and we're talking like people that are going on their health journey, everything's going well, and then bam, shingles all over their body, and then
Whoa.
bam, in their face. I mean, this is not a little thing. This is like 2/3 of everybody that I talk to.
Wow. Well, and you draw on people who present physically too. I think
Yeah, yeah,
not everyone presents physically. I do think the body does take a hit. No, everyone's body takes a hit,
yeah,
but I think some people choose to learn through the body, like you.
yeah. Well, so Jason typically doesn't get hit in the body. I've only seen him down once for like a day, like a day here, and then 2 days once in 4 years. So it sounds like you're going through it. So he got taken down started going down on Friday, and then he's been muscling through. And and yesterday I thought he was going to be okay, and today he's about the same as you. I think right now he's functioning
Yeah.
and a little bit there.
I had a lot of emotion come up. I ended up doing this 5 mile hike up a mountain, so my body's hurting today for that reason. Like, I got outside and got into nature, which I needed. And today I'm like, oh Jesus, was I out of shape? Um, but I had a lot of emotion. I had a lot of anger. I woke up pissed. I'm a person that represses my anger.
Well, you're
So I'm a
net
nice guy.
nine. I
I'm a
mean, net
nice
nine
guy.
is liver,
Yeah, yeah.
liver. Yeah.
Right. I am weird for I have a lot of nines in my chart, 18 at nine, like 3 19s, net nine, nine rising. But my Mars is at 1 in Pisces, so it's like a very muted. So at the end of the day, it all kind of goes in circles. So I think repressed anger is one of the issues I deal with, and it came up. I was just pissed,
Yeah.
and I knew it, but I reframed. I knew what it was. I mean, I knew exactly what it was.
Well, yeah, I think that's the whole point that I tell people is whether it's in your body or your perception or your spirit, it's going to come up. This time it's coming up for the purposes of telling a story which doesn't trap you in your body and your life again. You
Yes.
did, if it doesn't come up, I can't tell a new story.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I know it needs to come up. Well, it just surprised me because it's repressed. Like, excuse me, because I'm usually a really nice guy, totally fine about stuff, but I kind of just work through stuff. I mean, I just sort of like don't take it seriously, bat it off, and really but something in me is keeping score, like motherfucker, like something.
It's your area. It's your kind Taurus. Don't want to express the heart. Don't want to hurt your. And your Aries is like, die, mother. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah,
And then it's like, no, but I'm not gonna say anything.
that's
So that lands in your
totally it.
body. Yeah,
Right, and I think that kind of struggle creates inflammation in the body too, by the
it
way. I
does.
think
It
when
does.
you're resisting something inside yourself, you're getting puffy and inflamed. So I think that's part of it. But I think that but overall things I think are moving forward beautifully,
So
as far as the clearing and the cleansing.
I'm curious. Anybody in the comments? Can you put down anything that you've had come up in the last 7 days? Just put down what it is. I'm curious to see what people are going to
I
say.
personally
Um,
think shingles are repressed anger, by the way.
yeah. I mean, it really does. Shingles definitely. Shingles, chicken pox, herpes. It's all herpes. We call them different things, but it's all herpes. And this is the realization that people have is everybody in Hollywood has herpes, and like literally herpes, right?
Right.
And it has a lot to do. And this is where I no longer believe in the biological model of sickness.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Hey, look at
interesting.
this. Yes, flu, fighting flu, spots all over torso, inflammation, rash on breasts. Uh, Thoughts create same as something happening. A deep grief. Cold with sneezing. Oh, your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. Core sores, hemorrhoids. Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah.
I realized I don't know how to love properly. My wrist hurting all night. Today, got an interview. Wow, yeah, people are definitely going through
People
it.
are going through
Most.
it. Yeah, it's happening a lot. Everyone I know has gotten sicker. Everyone I know has had some sort of physical reboot since January.
Yeah.
Like January was sort of early. Mine was early in January. My body is really nice. It only gets sick when I have a moment of free time. Like,
Or it creates a moment of free time.
right. Well, no, I mean, like I'll plan on a vacation or something where I'll take time off or I'll have some like episodes in the can and then I'll get sick. So it's something in me is working to that degree. But I do think that it's herpes. I don't disagree, but I feel like herpes on the lip I think is a shame
Yeah.
thing. So I think it's
So
different.
this
It's
is my
different emotions. Yeah.
so basically you have the way I see it is you have 10 layers of fascia in the body, right? And those fascia layers come out what we call meridians. So they're more dominant in different areas. So when you have an emotion that's attached to an organ like liver,
Mm,
like liver, you're gonna get it all through up here. You're gonna get it through here and right here.
that's
But worry
liver,
is
huh?
gonna come out here and then it's going to come out here and here, which is spleen, or it's going to come out in between the right in here. So basically, it's the emotion, and then it expresses itself because everybody has herpes, literally on the planet, and
I'm
like
sure.
99.99999% of people have the herpes virus. So, but it expresses itself only when the emotion is up and you could say the immune system or the ability to process that emotion is down.
Mm. In that moment, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, it allows it to happen. I mean, there's no accident. There must be some, approval
Well,
somewhere for it to.
I actually, that's what I'm going to contemplate in my series. I've been watching it. I have a theory on why it happens. So I'm going to be actually talking about that because it's like for example, when somebody is going through grief, I can see the tone change. I can show you. I can put it on a camera. I can show you this goes yellowish brownish.
Wow.
And when I stretch the fascia and open it up, you ever have those ionizers, those foot things where you put your foot in that little
Yeah.
and you put the ionizer and all the colors come up,
All the
and
poop
they say
comes
the
out of your
color is
feet.
related to each organ. Well,
Yeah. That's
each
that's
organ's
that's so
related to
trippy.
an emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's still coming out of you. If it's not out of your foot, it's still coming out of your here. Your foot's just a one place where you could take it out. If you lie in that if you put that ionizer in a bathtub and do it, it's even more.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive to see stuff coming out of your feet. It's just amazing.
Have you ever seen the ones where like a worm will come out?
No. Ooh.
Oh, it's
Wow.
yeah, like worms will come out and all kinds of stuff.
Wow. That's nasty.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's gross, but fascinating.
So
um,
so last week was coming to terms with all of the karmic situations. The new moon
mm,
was like flushing it out. And by the way, I wanted to tell you something because we go to the beach every morning, and
mhm,
we do our maneuvers at sunrise. And I can tell when the full moons are coming up because of the wave patterns and the way the ocean and
mm,
stuff like that.
mhm.
But the new moons every this month, these last couple months, the new moons act just like a full moon. We have the same kind of wave pattern. So
Oh,
it like
that's
it
interesting.
tears up the shore.
That's what I've said. These new moons at 20 have felt like full moons
Yeah.
because they have, I mean, 20 is the Grandmaster step 4 too, I feel. So it's really the moon plus Pluto. So there's some death and destruction and transformation. So it's really been a ringing out. I thought these new moons would be setting up. So this is where I learned as an astrologer. I thought it would be setting up emotional cradle for the new. And it is. It is the emotional cradle for the new. But to get that emotional cradle, you had to change the sheets, it turns out.
Yeah. You're gonna clean
I
out the
didn't realize
emotions.
that. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Well, and every year it's Groundhog Day, the same stuff comes back. And what I've learned is that, like this year, everything that's happening this year, I can feel the same thing that happened last year. But last year it had guilt and shame and people issues and problems. And this year it's just like observations. I can see other people. It's like being at the center of a tornado. I can see people around me spinning out of control. But
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, physically, like this is the first year where my body isn't going down every full moon.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I feel much better this year than I did last year. It's much lighter.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people. I mean, I had a lot of people like getting kind of catty on. When you're in the business of being the good guy and the safe guy, then people have been abused, take it out on you. It's a
Yeah.
weird phenomenon. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that? Like,
I get it all
because
the
I'm
time.
because I'm the safe guy, people will project like that I'm the bad guy, and I'm like, that's what you should have said to your husband, not me. Like, but I got a lot of that over the weekend, and we get that at Serious Joy, where our community will just get really upset and leave all sorts of comments. And at first we took it personally. Now we're like, oh, there's the planets, like we can. And there was a lot of people projecting their stuff this weekend.
Oh, dude,
So
my
yeah,
controversial topics. I mean, I was saying that I was telling everybody that it took me a couple years of having Jason and Cynthia talk me off the cliff because I was called everything from a pedophile to whole guy, people hunting me down. I know you know that,
yeah,
but what's ironic is the same stuff that everybody bashes people for today, I virtually get none of it anymore. And
Mm,
I feel like it's because I've changed me and I no longer need that reflection.
yes. Yeah, I'm really working on, so I'm really, I'm experimenting with this timeline shift thing, man,
Yeah.
because we have Mars and Venus in Aquarius. Venus goes into Pisces here today, actually. So things are going to calm down very nicely today.
Well,
Venus in
that's towards
Pisces is
the end of
super
the
G.
day, right? Isn't that what's
I think
happening
it's
towards the end?
I think it's at 5:20 Eastern, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So 5:20 Eastern, Venus goes in. Right now it's at 29 Aquarius. So
Yeah. It
there's a
feels
lot,
that
there's
way.
some edginess. It's pushing us to raise our vibration. And whenever we're pushed to raise our vibration, anything that's low is just extremely heavy and sluggish. So I saw a couple people say they feel sluggish. That means you have lower vibration going on, something going on like lower thoughts, chemicals in the body. You have lower stuff because we're all being pushed to go higher, and so we feel heavier when we're being pulled like that. Venus is going to go into Pisces, and so we're going to get very dreamy here. This week is going to probably by tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's too soon. By Wednesday, things are going to be very, very dreamy. And when I say dreamy, I mean, you know, I believe in a dream. What was that? What was you say? I have a dream. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a dream
I
speech. You
agree,
know what I
man.
mean? Like it's like an I have a dream sort of moment where I think we're going to go super. This week, you're going to go super idealistic, very hopeful. And what you're doing is you are again exploring unrealized opportunity. Now that you feel clear, I think by Wednesday you're going to feel great. The timeline shift actually happens tomorrow. The big timeline shift is step 22. So step 22 is when you officially. I believe we started to exit the old timeline Thursday or Friday with step 18. So step 18, you're like, get me off this ride. I want off. The moon was like, oh shit, here we go. The new moon. Today we're like, are we there yet? Tomorrow I think we go, whoa, I think tomorrow's like a total like spin. And then Wednesday we're like, oh, here I am. And I think we're going to feel terrific. I think we're going to have unrealized potential then. Like, oh my gosh, I really feel like I can do this. And it's important to act on karmic discernment because as we're traveling through this towards the new timeline or the new vibration, the old vibration keeps inviting you back.
What's karmic discernment?
So to know that an opportunity to react or respond is actually the old karma coming back, and for you to discern between opportunities of the old karma and opportunities of the new timeline. So, anything coming back right this week really ought to be avoided or closed,
Yeah.
really. So I always find that when I'm about to take off, as soon as I say that's it, I'm not meant to be with her. She's not my girl. She calls, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
soon as
Exactly.
as soon as you say I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. Like the universe is like, oh, you're not. There's this invitation back into it. So I think that we are swimming up like salmon swimming upstream this week, where we're going for the dream, but we have all sorts of opportunities, and sometimes those opportunities are very alluring, like your old job offering you back with twice the pay. So those things are real difficult, and what that really is probably the credit. A lot of times you don't get the credit you deserved in a situation, and then you finally get the credit, and people go, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should go back. And it's like, no, that's the story closing. You got the credit you always wanted. They finally acknowledged that you were valuable. It's too bad it took them 2 years after you being gone for them to see it. But avoid that invitation back.
So when you say 22 degree, why is that? Why is 22-degree that way?
Because 22 is two emotional fields coming together. And so if you don't belong with the emotional field, you will repel it and it will break apart and break away. If you do belong with the field, it will merge into one, and you'll alchemize into a new vibration. So it's a vibration alchemy degree.
So
Um,
20 and at 22-degree anywhere in your chart, it's kind of like a wizard step.
yes, 100%. Yeah, those are wizards. 22s are wizards.
And
Yep.
you got Happy Camper from the Fascia. She's a 22-degree Gemini. She's like, yes, I'm a wizard.
She is a wizard. Yeah, she's a wizard. She's finding her power.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's finding her power. I think some wizards use their wand on themselves by accident a lot. as they're coming into their power. I honestly think that 22s haven't lived their potential yet because Pluto in Aquarius is sort of reactivating, is like giving more power to vibration than we normally have. So yeah.
Yeah.
So 22 is when things all mix together and make something new.
So so we're coming in. We've got Wednesday. We feel good. Thursday is
Thursday we start to the moon moves into Taurus. So the moon's in Aries right now, so we're breaking free of that old timeline with the moon in Aries.
yeah.
So you want to use this to resist the old, and then it goes through 20, Aries goes through 22, and then after the 22, the moon goes into Taurus, and Taurus is okay, this is the manifestation, this is the new normal. So we manifest the new normal on Tuesday night, Wednesday, and half of Thursday. And then the moon goes into Gemini. Thursday is 24 degrees, and that's when you accept. And the moon in Gemini is like, oh, am I here? Have I arrived? And I think that's sort of waking up from the warp speed that we're going through, or the transition, or coming through the portal. So Thursday and Friday are very, very light and sort of airy, and then Saturday, once you've affirmed that this is the path you want, Saturday you commit, step 26. Sunday, you act, step 27, Pisces. So you put that mission into motion on Sunday. So we're basically launching the mission this week.
So I noticed something that, like, let's say Saturday was a Taurus day in Pisces, so it was net 10, and then we come through the week, and then the moon, that's the sun, then the moon comes in the week with that Taurus. Is that I get it, this is who I am, and then a couple days later the moon comes in to bring the emotions to manifest that? Is that how it works?
Because our emotions have a drag. Like it's like the Earth. The Earth turns, the Earth turns, and then the moon, and then the winds catch up.
Yeah.
So usually that's literally what wind comes from, is the Earth moves, and then the winds get dragged with the Earth, right? I kind of feel emotions are the same way. Our heart makes a change, and then our emotions sort of get kind of dragged into that
Well, if you
that
think about
reality.
the human construct, thoughts are electric, very, very quick. It's like water going up, but emotions are magnetic. That's why we are
Mhm.
electromagnetic being. So emotions are heavy, pulling you down. Your thoughts are going over here, and your emotions are grounding you.
Yeah, and also they're the energy, emotion.
Yeah.
So if you don't have, that's why cold analytical people don't manifest worth shift, because they don't have the passion is necessary.
Right.
The passion ignites everyone else. The passion excites people. The passion makes the molecules vibrate. It creates the magnetic. So if you're only electric, you're just going to shock people. You need the electromagnetic for it to manifest.
That's actually great. If you're only electric, you're going to shock people. That's a
Right.
great way of saying it. Yeah,
That's what
you're
happens.
shocking, you're shocking, and you're shocking. So nothing's going to happen now.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of lightning, and there's really no, there as a result. And if you're all magnetic, you're all emotional, you're going to drown people. People get drowned. It's like, oh, the drama, my God, oh God, like you get overwhelmed. So you have to have the two. The mind and emotion must work together. Mercury and the moon must work together. So
So, so for the bigger thing, because I'm working towards, I noticed that Wednesday is an important day, and Wednesday is the day that we're actually putting together the final pieces of the announcement marketing of our new program. I
well,
just
that's
happens to
perfect.
be on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, you're in perfect sync. You're like me. You're living the steps. Like
Yeah.
everything. I don't even look. I don't even try. I mean, once you like follow the steps for like 3 months in Serious Joy, you just find yourself automatically like, oh, I planned the meeting on step 23. Oh, we signed the contract on 27. You just find you fall right into it. It's pretty amazing.
So, so we're going to be doing an event, well, not quite together now, but in 12th and 18th. So why do you think my planning got moved from the 18th to the 12th? Because literally there was not one place in all of Austin, not one place that could do it on the 18th for us at any size we were at.
Do you know how many people I had to call to reject you from those places, buddy? It took us hours. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I don't know. I mean, let's see. So it's 20 step 27 on that day or step 28. So you're going to be on Sunday, which is 6 days before that. So you're going to be at 22. Is your event going to be step
Oh,
22?
22. It's step 22. That's
Yeah.
why. Now I know.
Yeah, it's because it's probably because you're a functional, like we're both functional, but I think that you're going to end up helping people transform,
Yeah.
and I'm going to help people form.
Yeah.
So
That's it. That's
I
it. Transform and then into your event for forming.
you break Humpty Dumpty, I'll put them back together again. That's gonna how it's gonna fall. I feel like I honestly feel that week is faded. I'm actually glad it turned out that way because I'm gonna like get totally chilled out hanging out with you guys before my event. So I'm gonna show up to my event completely chill
Yeah.
because I'm hanging out with you guys, which I think is great because I have a hard time calming down with stuff like that. Plus, people can go to both events, which I think is great
Yeah.
too. But I do think it's God's plan. I mean, I honestly feel like we're being guided there for some reason.
Well, there was two things that happened. The April 20th event that we were going to do in California, it just, everything was a roadblock. And everywhere we turned, it was like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm like, okay, I just pulled out. And then somebody just invited us to Jordan to do a big event in Jordan, which I'm reviewing, but on the exact same date. I said, well, if this is closing down, something else is coming up. And then the other one was on the 18th, moved to the 22nd. But what we're doing, it's frustrating for people around us, I know sometimes, but what we do is we follow the energy. So if it's not supposed to happen, it's not supposed to happen. I don't try to force it.
Totally. And people tell me I'm planning this thing too late, and I'm like, I agree. I mean, but it's really God's plan. I'm being told to do it. I actually would have put it off another year, but my insides are screaming that I can't do that. Like God put a hard no on it. You can't. You have to have this event.
No, it has to happen this year. I know that I can feel like I can feel what the buildup in the world right now because I'm watching from the outside. I mean, for me, it's humorous. I mean, I go and I specifically look at a couple things to get my bearings to see what's going on. Like, I love what they're doing in France. I don't know if you see. They're like cementing in the parliament buildings. They're baling bales of hay. They're tearing up the roads so that they're stopping commerce. I mean, these revolts are happening all over the world. We're not seeing it because it's not published on media. The entertainment industry, Hollywood, is getting its guts ripped out of
Yeah.
it right now,
Yeah.
which is people. I think they were saying, no, I know there's change going to happen, but it's going to be this plannable change. And I'm like, no, we're going to go from playing football to chess overnight. And you're not going to know what the playing field is. And that's why I keep telling people the number one attribute of being successful in the future is adaptability. It's to plan to adapt.
Agreed. And actually, I'll say, plan to adapt for the next 2 years. From what all my sources are saying, when I say all my, I mean psychics, extra dimensional mediums. I put it all together. They're all saying the world goes into a frenzy from September of this year till November of 2026.
Yeah.
So it's 2 years of a frenzy, which makes me, I mean, I can guarantee you right now, people will not be happy with whoever is president.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
it's a given. I don't care who it is, it won't be. And
They
if it
both work
happens,
for the same bunch of people anyways. That's the whole sham, is it
right.
doesn't really matter at the end.
But I'm also playing, watching Bashar, which I find fascinating. This guy who channels,
Yeah, I like for sure.
he's talking about. I'm really trying to apply his timeline shift stuff, and I'm going to really try to choose who's president for me. I have a feeling. I believe I can choose who's president. That's going to be my thing. I'm not going to say
I'm
who I'm
choosing, I don't
choosing.
care.
All right, then your vote goes to
Yeah,
me.
I'm
So
like if the United States there's another one that was saying, okay, that path of the eclipse coming through on April 8th, they showed that path there, and then they're showing these US government military maps where the lakes separate and the continents. They've been doing that forever, by the way. My
oh yeah,
mom
yeah.
had that map years ago, but but like you said, there's a black and there's a white. There's a fight and there's a hero and the villain. And I'm taking the other one because I really don't care. In the United States, I don't give a shit. Canada, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't wherever it is, I'm going to be, and I just know I'm not in the mix of it. But it's been interesting to watch it happen.
Well, okay, so I went down with Atlantis, and I believe the United States is the new Atlantis, like in the future. So I have a heartfelt desire to see this experiment of we the people succeed personally.
Yeah, but does it have
I'm
to? But I think it's. I think the difference is that, or the way I see it is America is really about an idea, and the geography of that idea. Like if you take the Jewish people out of they wherever they are, and they have for centuries gone to wherever they're going to be. So America is the idea. The location is being polluted right now. And so the idea is just going to come, whether it's physically there or not, who cares?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that's probably true. It doesn't really matter. I mean, on Earth, it just needs to have a home. But the idea represents the entire Earth experiment. So you want to get super deep, let's go down a rabbit hole. Allegedly, there are 12 races of humans created from 12 different genetic strands of
I
aliens that
believe
created
that.
12 tribes in
Yeah.
Atlantis. And so Atlantis was the united galaxies of united galaxies into one group of nations, like all in one island. So the United States is this idea of all the genetic types of people all getting along. It's a premise for the whole Milky Way. Like the whole Milky Way is saying, can the Anunnakis live side by side by the Pleiadians? And so they created this species that has Anunnaki and Pleiadian blood in the same DNA. And so it's a big experiment of, can the universe get along? And of the world, the United States represents that uniting of all those.
You, you cut out for just a second there. What was it? Oh, you're still up.
Are you still
Okay,
there?
yeah, I got
Sorry.
it. The United States uniting of all the.
So the United States is all the DNA of the world living under one
I
nation,
believe
right?
that.
The,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea
You
is
know
that
what?
it's an
My
experiment.
theory of the human body is it commensurates that. That's why we're creating the. It's a docu series and a book and it's done live with the audience. We're doing it over 12 months because number one is you can't learn this stuff. You have to experience it. To
Yeah,
like I experienced this change in my body and my life and all that. Number two is each astrological sign is related to one of those in the way that it's called through the body. Because at the end of it, our bodies are programmable. We're no different. We have the same attributes as an iPhone. We have
yeah,
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We have a processor. We have a hard drive. We have a display screen. We
yeah,
run apps and programs. We have
yeah,
different iOSs. My apps, my programs, even though it looks the same, like a human shell, we have very different inside because we run different apps, but we're in the same shell. We sync up to a cloud all the time.
yeah,
We're an iPhone. And we're
yeah,
a fluid adaptive biological iPhone. Our DNA is built as double helix with antennas. So we're a receiver. Our spine, sacrum of the spine is a triangle. When you MRI it, it's a circle. And then there's a big long line and a big ball on the top. We're damn wireless antenna. We're built that
yeah,
way.
yeah. To download God consciousness. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
So
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, Jinx, you lead,
No,
buddy. I'm on your
you.
show.
You.
So I was just saying, I think we're at an interesting moment because I think the United States represent that melting pot idea. And so the question is, will this great experiment continue? Because we're the only nation that's doing that in the world. Is there another?
Well, I think it's time for okay. Well, so let's go deep down the rabbit hole. Um, Even in the Bible, it talks about us having superpowers.
Yep.
It talks about the animals walking and talking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so basically, if you want to see animals contemplating consciousness, go look at I Am Bunny on TikTok or Instagram. That dog is contemplating its own existence through those buttons and communication.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not an accident.
I've
Yeah,
seen
and
that.
yeah, and if there's one, if one does it, they all do it. I'm not even going to argue with people about that. But if you look at all the animal videos of how the animals are getting along and how they're interacting, they're acting like humans. So consciousness is rising. It's like an ocean.
Yeah.
And that means that animals rise. It means we have to rise too. So
Yeah. I see
our
that.
idea of a nation is we've been like an animal, scared and restricted and held, which we have our territory, we've got our home. Like we are meant as human beings, we're biologically meant to be outside 85% of the time.
Yeah.
But we spend 85% of our time inside. Like a
Mhm.
dog feels safe when it's caged. That's not natural. We have been caged.
Yeah. I agree with that.
That's what's changing. Our version of what home, the definition of home and country or community is going to change. And that's
I
why we're
agree
going
with
to have
that.
shifting of borders, shifting of countries. That's what I believe. But it starts off in here. That's why we're going through all this shit right now.
Yep. I agree. I don't disagree with that. I think that this mechanism, I was actually watching. I don't know if you watch anything about the Anunnaki and the key Anunnaki people. There was like, I can't remember the name of them now. It's not Noki. I'm thinking of Disney right now, but
Or,
basically, you know what I'm talking about. I heard it in the
well, yeah,
background.
no key. But you said you're thinking of Disney or pasta.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, apparently, the Anunnaki separated all of humans. The Anunnaki destroyed the Tower of Babel. The gods, a lot of the god stuff in the Bible is actually allegedly our alien captors, apparently. And we were separated into nations, into lands because we were united, and that was a threat to our slaveholders.
Yeah,
So I do believe we're going to come back in heart into one pulse.
I believe so.
That's the goal. Yeah.
And we find our tribes. But, between here and there, the utopia, the systems come down.
Yeah.
As the systems come down, things like what I see happening is, and I've been very clear about this. I've been saying this for years. Is like, for example, money currently today represents fear, loss, and separation because I have it, you don't, you need it. It creates servitude in some way. We're moving from a monetary system that's based on a fear, obligation, debt. Because, for example, what is if you take away all of the cost of everything you buy here is made from the earth. So the cost of manufacturing or finding something is based upon what? Human time, because a
Yeah.
human creates the time. If you take away with that, with all the robots and computers and stuff that's coming, the the time input to make something is going to go away. So the value of that something drops automatically.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, if things don't cost the same, then we have to go to a new form of measurement,
Yep.
which is now not out of fear, obligation, debt, but out of contribution. So
Hmm. Yeah.
what are you bringing to this collective, to this new thought, to this mission, to this project, to this family, to this ideology? And that's how we're going to measure. So the whole, it starts off at what is currency? Currency meant currency. It's the current. And right now we haven't been treating that. We've been treating it as a rock that we lock into and we fear. So currency is going to open up, and that's why currencies are going to be destroyed.
Yep. And according to the Palladians, in about 35 to 40 years. I don't know if that seems ambitious to me, but yeah.
I think it's going to go before myself, but I mean, I think it's the version of what we measure because the actual need for a currency is the need to measure. And in this world, we're moving from debt obligation into contribution. We still have to measure because we're having that currently. Like if somebody creates social media for us, well, that's a value we would normally pay somebody for. But we want to give them some sort of value so that can convert to, like, let's say, a supplement, or that can convert to staying here. And that's what we're doing right now. So the world has to go through that, the barter system, back to the barter system, and then some measurement until the fact that we don't need to measure, because the only reason I measure is because I fear that I'm doing more than others, or others aren't going to do their part.
Mm. Yeah, it's a collapse of the entire value system as we know it.
Yeah.
Technology will force that, no question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm wondering how we'll get there. I think you and I will see it in our lifetime,
Yeah.
and then we'll croak.
I'm actually have a plan to get there. That's the thing is like I have the, I'm what we're building is we're building a social contribution system which values the one thing because if you have a currency today it has to be based on something. So what if your currency was measured by how well you take care of yourself and how much you help others? Then
Right.
that means that everybody themselves can have their own currency, and we're going to measure that. We already are in smaller ways, but now with AI, we're going to be able to measure that. I mean, we can measure when people. I can tell when people are in our programs. I can tell if they comment. I have a score inside of our app that tells us, and we're just going to take the people who are doing the most and give them.
Mm, right.
That's a
That's
currency because if all of a sudden you didn't have to pay for your home or your food or your vehicle. I mean, how much of that of your life would change?
yeah. I'm a far as a Taurus. I'm a far cry from feeling safe in that. I'm gonna have to slowly get in that hot tub.
Well, but it's not. But think about it this way: it's not about taking away anything. It's about simply saying you could still have that, but you have a choice. You could actually, in our model, we could pay you to work with us, or you can go just your rent is paid over here and you still contribute. We still measure it because
Right.
at some point, what we did in society is we took out wisdom, and
Oh yeah.
we took wisdom when we made it direct people at the mall or the airport, and that
Yeah.
has to come back into society for value to for value to work.
Yeah. There's a lot that has to happen, and you know, I wonder how it's gonna work. So if I want a Mercedes, do I have to love you extra hard for that?
No, no, you have to help more people.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you still have
Well,
a
I mean,
measurement system. You could still do more,
right.
but the thing is as our consciousness evolves, we actually want less.
That, that's true. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. When I started off as a Buddhist, they told you to chant for wealth, chant for the things you wanted. And I asked my teacher at the time, my sensei, why do you have us chant for material things if we are a spiritual community? He says, because as soon as you realize you can have anything, you don't want anything. You know, it's like,
That's my
it's
this is my
like,
current experience. I mean, like legitimately in our state, I could do a lot if I want to. I have
right.
a dozen. I have now. I've upgraded. I got a 2 dozen t-shirts and 4 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of shoes. Like we go to California, we go for this week trip, and everybody's packing, and they're like, "Are you packing yet?" I'm like, "Packing takes me for everything I own. I can pack in 10 minutes." And
Yeah.
and I honestly, for the first time in my life, I have this weight. It took at first it was fear because I don't have the things or I don't fit in. I wear this everywhere. People can identify me anywhere because I'm wearing my shorts, my
Right.
shirt, and my white hair.
Right. Yeah. You become an icon. Yeah. It's funny.
So
You're like Einstein. You have the same outfit in your closet.
yeah, but you know what? That's the most successful people in the world, even in the business world, they do stuff like that. They reduce the decisions in their daily life because they take emotions so that they can use all of their emotion in other areas.
Yep. I'm all for that. I think that's a great idea, personally. Interesting. I mean, the Chinese are having sort of a negative, I mean, their social credit system in a way is like a negative version of what you're proposing.
Well, it's the same
They,
technology.
yep.
Social credit means that somebody has something that they give to me. It's a credit. That means I'm in debt. Social contribution means that I can create it right now by taking care of myself and documenting it and sharing it with others. So like literally, if you do your maneuvers and we're going to be able to document this and you share and you help with others and you help people in the app, you're going to get points. Those points convert to things like products and services. And we're doing this with all our vendors too.
Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting and cool. I think I'll be watching.
You're part of it.
Totally. Yeah, totally. But I mean, like, just from one creator to another, I think it's a fascinating it's a fascinating direction that you're heading there, and I'm curious to see what
Fascinating.
works and what doesn't work, and how
Fascinating.
you pivot. Yes, very fascinating. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know I get corrected for that if I said
Yeah, you know what?
fascinating.
You know what? We don't have the answers, but I mean, part of it, Chris, is I've been on this journey with you now for
12, 13
12
years.
years, going on 13 years. And we're coming back to the time where we started and we wanted to collect and work together. And
Right.
we're actually really working
Yeah.
together now.
It just took 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It took 12 years.
Yeah.
And
It took a long time. We had to work out our own personal stuff, is what it was. I
yeah.
think.
But I see that. And that's the beauty about what it is that, I love to help you and what you're doing. You've created so much value in my life.
Yeah.
And
Likewise.
And this is where it goes. Like I give to help you without any expectation of return because that's not what this is where we're going. I know it. I know it's not like that with everything in my life, but it's there. Yeah, I'm at 2/3, and I know that
Yeah.
eventually people will be there.
Well, and I actually believe that I believe that we all, those of us who are, and that's what our week of Unite the Light is, and you and Austin is that I believe that this generation are the forefathers of the new era. I believe that we're laying down the how-tos. And the last time we had the how-tos was the birth of democracy. And that was the birth of the United States was the most, powerful, strong step forward towards this what you are building, frankly. It was
Yeah.
from where we were with feudal and monarch to democracy republic, democratic republic. It was the first big step, and I think we're making the second big step. And I think it needs to be pioneered, and it needs to be prototyped, so that the world can choose to copy and improve upon it.
Yeah. So, what do we do for next week? How do we prepare for next week? This week, like, what are the key things that we do?
This week you're floating between the two worlds. So you're going back and forth with your old timeline of where you apologized and your new timeline of where you don't have to apologize. So you're sort of feeling through these different options this week. And by Saturday you're saying, yes, this is what I want. Sunday I'm going to do it. And then next week we actually go into Aries, which happens on Wednesday of next week. So hump day of next week we go into Aries. And that's when we start to reprogram what I call the Migo. And the Migo is my term for the ego for yourself. So the ego for yourself is your Migo. How I make me go, basically what motivates me. So we're gonna forge a new Migo that's not based on survival. That's based on thrival. That's how I see it. And once you have your ego and your drives and your motives and everything you want to do, so we sort of get to work next week. This week is all dreamy. Put on the music, yacht
So
rock,
what?
hanging out.
So this week, a demeanor would be like just go with the flow, let it happen, don't judge it.
Yes, this week is a lazy river.
Yeah.
Next week are the falls. So go ahead and enjoy the ride. Have a mocktail and just sort of mosey on down. We all float on. Modest Mouse, that song. We all float on. Okay,
Yeah.
we're just gonna float on and making very subtle. I think the choices this week are extremely subtle. And believe it or not, this is a master week. We're at step 20. So this is the mastery of spirituality. And the mastery of spirituality, sometimes, so let's say someone from the past reaches out to you and they want to apologize for how bad they were. I'm not sure. Like, do you take that call? Do you not take that call? If you do take that call, what do you say? I think it's very, very subtle to to wrap up that karma with a bow. And in some cases, it may not need a wrap up. It may, wrapping it up is reopening the wound in some cases. So I think you have to literally play it by how you feel it. And that's what I will say. Your mind doesn't know the answer at this point. So just put it aside and make it an observer because the mind has never been programmed for this ever. I personally think it's going to take 5 years, and at 5, for our minds to be reprogrammed for the new era. We're going to constantly be trying to run the old program and having to stop it, because we've been brainwashed for the old era, which is lack, survival of the fittest, best at the top, like all these different ideas that are false to the old economy and the old way of being. So you have to feel your way, put your blindfold on and see what feels right.
Yeah. That actually feels right. I I feel like this is the turning point. We're coming into our new year, Aries, and
Yep.
it feels like this is New Year's Eve. It does.
It feels, yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, we're going to be, and this summer is going to be glorious. So everyone should plan to have a fun summer because shift's going to get real in the fall.
Yeah.
So enjoy this summer. Don't spend your summer worrying. This is
Yeah.
going to be a summer of love. I just did horoscopes based on the summer of love on my YouTube channel, by the way,
Oh, cool.
where me and my buddy Scott, we talk about our predictions for each of the 12 signs and where their love life is this summer.
Can you get that on your YouTube channel?
You can get on my YouTube channel. It's free. It's up right now. Serious Joy TV is the YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Go check out your horoscope for the summer of love. The only ones who seem to be pissed are the Libras. I pissed off the Libras. Sorry,
Okay.
Libras. So, anyways, yeah, it's been fun.
That's a good place
Gary.
to stop.
We'll see the community on Thursday for astromechanics.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Chris. Take
Thank you,
care.
brother. Talk soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
And if you haven't done it yet, go to our products page and go to Serious Joy. Go to products partners Serious Joy, and you can use the app for $3.99 for the first month. It will tell you about you and 5 people around you. It'll give you 7 messages a day. It trains you on how to use astrology in your life. So I encourage you guys to go do that. We will see you tomorrow. And remember, every day at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we have Breath Messiah tomorrow. Wednesday we have Raw Reality, and Thursday we've got Astromechanics with Chris, and we have a special guest coming into Cancun, which we'll be talking about. And I'll be showing you. We're going to be creating some cool content here, but I will save that for later. Let's just tell you it's about fields, EMFs, and how to take care of yourself. Take care, everybody.